Democracy is something elemental, and it has been taken away. The websites are closed, and we just want to vote, and that's it. Yeah or not? You can vote whatever you want, but we just want to vote to decide what we want for the future.
Well, I'm here at a protest outside the Dáil in solidarity with the people of Catalonia, who are protesting because the Spanish state is trying to brutally crush the movement for self-determination in Catalonia. They've given a deadline to the Catalonian government of Thursday, essentially to submit to the diktats of the Spanish state under threat of we don't know what. Already there's been arrests of key leaders of civil society activists in the Catalonian movement who've done nothing more than organise peaceful protests for Catalonian self-determination. We have the Spanish state denying the legitimacy of a vote of 2.2 million Catalonians for independence, and really Europe is silent, the Irish government is silent, and are effectively backing the Spanish state in its repression of the self-determination of the Catalonian people. So we would hope that people in Ireland here will support the struggle for self-determination of the people in Catalonia and condemn the repression being meted out by the Spanish state to the people of Catalonia, and call on our own government and the European Union not to stand idly by while human rights and democratic rights are being crushed in.
Boyd Barrett.
I think it is really quite shocking. The deafening silence or worse tacit complicity of the European Union and the Irish government about what is now a dangerous and escalating situation in Catalonia. The Rajoy government is threatening to invoke Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, which has never been invoked before, to disband the regional government and impose direct rule on Catalonia, against a background of vicious repression against a completely peaceful, I would say very moderate, extraordinarily moderate movement looking for self-determination that sought to do nothing but put ballot papers into a ballot box, and was faced with vicious repression, dragging people around the streets, preventing them from going into ballot boxes, arresting civil society leaders this week who did nothing more than organise peaceful pro-independence protests, organising raids on political parties that are pro-independence on their offices. Gino Kenny and other TDs were over there the weekend before last, where the plan was to have public representatives from Ireland and elsewhere sleeping in the houses of MPs from Catalonia to observe against the likelihood of them being arrested, which is a very real prospect. And against that background, what is the Irish government and the EU saying? When this thing could escalate out of control tomorrow, nothing. No condemnation, no assertion of the right to self-determination, which by any definition the people of Catalonia have a right to exercise their view on self-determination, as set down by the UN Charter. They tick all the boxes. They have a language, they have a culture, they have a history. Now, you don't have to agree with their demand for independence, but you have to agree with the right to exercise self-determination. And it is quite extraordinary that the European Union, the Irish state and states around the world who are signed up to the UN Charter, to the principle of self-determination, and even more extraordinary in a state such as Ireland, who had to fight for its right to self-determination, that we do not believe in are not supporting the right of the people just to make the decision and not to face vicious repression, call for the release of civil society activists who are being arrested just for organising peaceful protests. Silence, 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 and worse, complicity and giving tacit endorsement to Rajoy's repression and suggesting that he has a right to impose his will on the Catalonian people. Absolutely shocking and disgraceful. And the EU is covering itself in shame when it parades itself as some sort of progressive entity on the world stage and says nothing about the denial of national self-determination as set out even in the UN.